another project.
Yeah.
I'm doing marketing, sales,
And you can also do sales. You don't need a time slot. I need to go out and do sales. It's just starting off. You can even go to a bar and tell people. So
as long as I keep on going and get the KPIs.
just generate some people to the site. As a lawyer, I need to keep updating the content. And then somebody has to write down the stuff, literally write down which one is this, and it says it's my domain, I'm the domain expert with these things. I have to keep researching. These are the people that we need to bring on the site. These are the people we have to bring on the site.
Definitely.
So I think I should be doing the most work in that regard.
Can you hear me?
On the page. What?
Sorry,
I said the entrepreneur does the most work, then after that it's me, then who? The tech guy. Well?
No, I'm talking on
So,
the Hangout.
Talking to the customer.
I think we have 5.
Kasha,
Yeah.
you can hear me, I guess?
Yes.
What's the next question?
Because I cannot hear you at the moment. Why is it?
At what point do we need money, idea?
I'm actually surprised that I can hear you. Okay, so
At which stage do we need
Can you
money?
hear me?
yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay.
So at the moment, we have group work. Everybody is working on decisions, and in 5 minutes I will hand out the final decision. So in 20 minutes we will come all together and then evaluate all the decisions.
Okay.
And then there will be probably the most interesting part for you. I was hoping that you could join the introduction, and then I would put you within one group and you could, I don't know, listen to this. But I don't know.
Didn't work out. Or
Huh?
is it going to work? Is it going to be, or is it didn't work out? Because I don't really understand.
Sorry. Yeah, it technically didn't work out. I had a problem because it's my first time to put it up, and then I don't know, something happened, and we were already 20 minutes late, and things came late, and I don't know, there were several things that came together, and then I don't know, I couldn't.
No worries. I was watching Sex and the City, so I got lots of insights as well.
Okay.
Let me know when I jump, like when anything starts, that I can.
Yeah, and what I can do is I put the computer where you should view the scene, and then you can mute your microphone, and then you'll. Yeah.
This is the part I find very redundant. Like,
Okay, perfect.
strong personality and is able to gather people around him. No, that's her. But that's like her personality. That's good.
But then he will attract the.
Yeah, people like the team rather than the island.
Iggy, you're on board. Cool. Hey, man. Sorry for the delay. See if my internet connection.
Everybody is working in groups at the moment. There are a bunch of people here, and we will gather back together in 15 minutes, and then there will be a final evaluation and the most input from Vince and stuff. So in 15 minutes there will be the biggest learning point. Where are you actually? Are you insane? Are you at the bar?
I'm in Spain. No.
I think the best way.
I'm in Spain at my hostel thing.
I cannot. Oh, wait. Can you now talk? Sorry.
Can you read that first part again? How can
Yeah,
you?
because it's, our product doesn't require to be produced.
How can you?
Iggy, where are you?
Yeah, I'm in Spain.
Oh, fuck you.
Oh wait.
This kind of
Yo, Iggy, you're in Spain. You lucky bastard.
Yes. I'm sorry, man. Can you
Okay,
hear me or not?
I can hear you now. Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm happy for you, man.
Okay, cool.
So, 15 minutes, I will mute you now, and then in 15 minutes we will come together, and that will be the biggest part. So we have 15 minutes to, I don't know, I will leave you here. You can listen to what other people are saying, but I will need to hand out the other stuff. Yeah?
If my connection holds it, because
No, but I like.
We have now a uni hub.
I will see.
I think it will spread and become global.
Yeah, so that's where we go.
But right now, you just have the metrics, and you can't prove it can go global. You know what I mean?
No, but the market is
Big,
yeah. So, big market. So we have to explain steps how to go global.
It just means basically, I can go like one.
Yeah, but what if we say customer acquisition, like I said, is hard? It's all about getting the customer, it's not B2B. So how would you do that in different places? All of them you go to different universities. You know what I mean? It's a different place, and then you have to start that whole thing all over again. Over there. How do you bring people on board?
Something students have to do every yeah, from back or
But we might be I should be. I look so close.
Webinars.
Yeah.
We need to market. It needs to be marketed everywhere. Before people start making their own shit, they'll market mistakes. Yeah, because there's no barrier to entry. Anyone else. To be honest, if we want to take, we shoot it out everywhere. Try not.
Y este es un portista con tecnología síncrona y con un descuento de hasta 6.100 euros, todo incluido ya del más. Ya nada. Si te lo decimos tan rápido es por algo. Date prisa, porque luego sus exposiciones. 1.500 coches de exposición a un precio especial. En junio renueva exposiciones. De Desborde Concesionarios.
Nueva estrellas para la tarde del viernes 19 de junio. En Bauhaus se invita la próxima Women's Night. A las 10 de la noche, disfrutar de una tarde llena de diversión con precios exclusivos para vosotras. Y además gratis, inscripciones en tienda o en Bauhaus. No paternas con Bauhaus, el especialista para tu casa, taller y jardín.
Madrid Anthony en Valencia el 15 de junio. Hyundai en Chile. Se invita en Alcón. Prueba un vehículo de la gama Hyundai y entra en el sorteo de una de las 200 entradas. Ven a Hyundai en Twitter y Hyundai con Carity. De Martín, el sorteo y toda la información del concierto en marcasdevalencia.com.
We're doing all the last Game of Thrones episodes, right?
Más información en Libertad Valencia.
You want to play.
No. But from the beginning, there was so much happening. I was like in the series for like a chill start, and then it was like, okay, half of Stannis' army. Okay, Stannis is gone.
Okay, no. Okay, Stannis is gone?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see that. I mean, when it started back in take over the entire. But that was before he killed his own daughter. So much to do with his own daughter.
I still liked him. I don't know why. He was like kind of German.
Definitely. Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah, pretty sure.
I love how he finally
So about time, you know.
holy shit, yeah.
It was always like, I think I wonder if this were Ramsey raped
Sansa, yeah.
I wasn't sure if he was going to do something.
I wanted you.
Everybody is so badly.
It's the way that he looked at it.
He was suffering, you know.
Yeah.
Cool. Yep. Yeah, but I don't know what they did there. They, I don't know, was the snow like high enough that they could jump in there, or what the fuck did they do?
Something really good.
I don't think they're dead.
No, it's just like not frozen water.
Because they jumped off the wall, right?
Because
they will
That
get
was the first
right.
Yeah, it was just like a
Can you guys-
suicide mission. Well, it was like set shit. I left the wall. It would make sense because they're like,
Yeah. They'll survive. How well they'll be doing after that.
that was like 50 minutes and it was already so much out. Like, the thing with, what's her name?
Jackie's daughter.
Yes.
Oh, thingy, yeah. When they go on the phone and she suddenly gets the blood nose.
You know, when she kissed her, I was already,
Oh, it's missing mine.
yeah. No, I was already, I always thought.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she was thinking this was too much now. Yeah.
Who's the daughter's name again?
Already got the value from that side story.
No. Yeah, it was a bit of wrong though, so I was.
Ron's.
Yeah. So I appreciate it. When he was like in the cell,
Yeah.
and he was about to die, I was like,
You don't you dare! You cannot. You fucking cannot.
you cannot kill Ryan, you can't kill Harris.
The other reaction that you cannot kill.
Yeah, everybody else.
Even Jon Snow, yes, you can kill, but you cannot fucking harm.
God's kill.
Not. And you don't kill. Not every day with that. But he's gonna rule Marine now. Isn't he? Oh no, it's
Heather Harris is amazing.
Yeah.
But I also love that Dario Harris and
Jorah.
Jorah, yeah. Jorah, so it's like
Yeah, so
that.
Captain Prince of saving the French.
I like them down together.
That's real.
Guardians cool. I think
Yeah.
he's got my name, so that's
Well, I just love Jorah the Explorer.
Jorah. No, I like the travelers together.
Yeah.
And then Tyrion and Varys. It's 1 year, so.
Yeah.
It was. No, there's actually one series coming out, which I'm kind of looking forward to. It's called Mr. What? Mr. About a hacker. No, actually, the pilot.
Yeah.
All that stuff, and it was great.
I heard that Jared.
Yeah, it's supposed to be good as well. Like,
Yeah.
the black guy.
Some of that and
Yeah.
good stuff. I haven't seen it yet. It's supposed to be from Marvel. Like that.
Yeah, it's in Netflix.
Yeah. Have you seen House of Cards?
Yes.
That shit is awesome.
Yeah. I like it. I actually enjoyed the last season that much. I think
When he's like president and everything.
it's still incredibly good, you know, but it's not as thrilling as the
It's the build up towards.
yeah, the build-up was like I think the first episode of the first season.
Yeah.
Was insane.
I still can't get over it so where he pushes the reporter in front. That room is like, what the fuck just happened?
Okay, so it's like the first episode of the second season, and the most important, second or third most important person to die.
Is that what fuck? This is Game of Thrones? What's going on? Like, I'm actually he does it.
You're talking like
No, actually not. Actually not.
No, we're actually talking about House of Cards. We have been talking about Game of Thrones before.
Actually, he doesn't. He just went so fucking fast.
Come on.
Done. Yeah, it was problem solved.
Yeah.
Appreciate saying a word anymore.
It wasn't dramatic at all. It was like,
Thanks, Dad.
you're watching a series? Yeah, it's probably smarter not watching. Just waste so much time, but especially when you're like not really on the newest episode. So the thing with Game of Thrones is that now you can just spend weeks enjoying, and then someone finished. But now it's very sad. I'd love to continue watching this for 2 weeks like I did, and that was not really until the recent episode.
I just realized Jon Snow could also become a White Walker.
That,
Like, why the fuck not?
No, the thing
Why the
is,
fuck not?
I was when the camera was zooming in,
Yeah.
I was like expecting two things, like either like will Sam come and just reanimate him, or his eyes would turn blue.
Yeah.
I was so scared that his eyes would.
Yeah, I actually do not want that to happen.
Yeah, because also the one lady, the wildling girl,
The orange hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
kind of thought that she would play like a major role. She was hot, yeah. Kind of thought that she would play a big role in the future. And then just
Wasn't that also with episode 8, where they slightly focused on this modeling girl as well, but then she got eaten by the children, who were the zombies? Episode 8, where like Jon Snow goes to oh, girl you meant.
yes.
Oh yeah, she was.
Oh,
No, I thought
the
she
other
was
end.
like the ginger.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but no, same. Yeah, I thought she was playing slightly. Then she died.
I also saw a meme like YOLO E. YOLO.
It's funny because we're like so many things going back. Oh yeah, she got this. No, she. Oh, never mind. Oh, that's right. I'm watching Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sooner or later. The thing I'm worried about is didn't like Marjorie and the whole Tyrell thing.
That was not that.
They were not
big.
No, they just. Yeah,
Just go to that. We'll just see what happens next season.
Let's.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Let's hope they forget them with the.
Let's hope that has some good shit.
The thing is, I'm wondering how much of the actual plot of it has been similar in the books and how much.
I've heard a lot of complaints that
They made some things
the
up.
wives from it.
Because I think I said part of Tyrion, Daenerys, is not in the book.
Order in the court.
You're on stage, sir.
Stage.
Go ahead. First witness, the stand is yours.
It's like there's
Oh.
So for you guys want to say hello to Iggy and Kasia? We have two guests. They're joining from Spain and Poland.
Nice. Who's in Spain? Iggy? Of course.
Yeah, he's joining in the bar, you know.
Okay, everyone is? Yes. So, again, some quick feedback. Who got into a fight? Okay. Do you recognize situations where you have to deal with yourself, or was it something totally theoretical?
There was somehow theoretical at the end where it was about estimation stuff. Sorry? It was more theoretical at the end for valuation.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, but it just forces you to think about it a bit. Like, of course, now just doing this in an hour, it's of course a lot, but just to go through the whole process yourself.
The thing was that we, at least in our group, sort of lost track at the end, like, okay, where are we at? Like, so for us, it's very difficult to estimate, like, okay, how does this work? Because we didn't know yet.
Yeah, but you have to decide along the way. Like, yeah, of course, it's a bit of an experiment, so don't hold it against me, but I'm not. And did you also maybe like work from different perspectives within the group, or was everyone just doing everything on a general level, or were you just all playing a role of one of the team members? I don't know. Does anyone have to say something about that?
But naturally sorted. You could see some roles as well, but it was most of discussing it. Let's say I was the legal guy, but I wasn't really legally thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, legal,
Always.
Bad actor.
Well, I was on the table with a lawyer and an investor, so they already knew how it worked. Just told me how it would go in real life.
Okay. Yeah, what I would like to do now is just go through each challenge and get two opposite perspectives. So I would just like to randomly select one group for the first challenge and give some feedback on how they dealt with that. And then ask the group who is the most different in the first challenge. So group number 3, who was that? Okay, we can start with challenge number 1. I don't know if you have a leader or a spokesperson.
I was an 18 years old virgin.
You should tell Dan to come up there. Who was that? He's a salesman.
I was a salesman.
Okay, the salesman, the talkative salesman takes the stage. Okay.
Do not right here. Or?
Yeah.
Stage is yours. What do we have to present?
Just like what you decided upon against in the end. Like, yeah, give him a.
At the end, we came to the conclusion that 2 co-founders got 20%. 30. The two founders got 30%, still the co-founders got 20%. And the sales guy started with 10, and based on his KPIs and goals he reached, then go to 20%.
Okay.
And how much for the tech team?
Sorry?
How much for the tech team?
You get 20. You get anything.
At 20.
Yeah.
And the founders also 20.
Founders
so at 20 times 3 you make 6. Because 10 is 70.
Only
30, 20.
Yeah.
Okay. And why? Why did you choose for that one? Why was the sales guy excluded of the same year?
Because I'm sure of myself, and I know I'm gonna get those customers. We agreed upon.
Okay, so you value the domain expert and the guy who came up with the idea, or the entrepreneur the same way. who's gonna take the full responsibility of the team? Like, the entrepreneur guy? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
The fund. And basically the entrepreneur. That's the one. And the techie is the guy where it's code.
Okay, and balance-wise, did you make like an assessment of how much work actually the tech guy is doing in comparison to the people who came up with the idea? No, okay.
No, we didn't.
It's so valuable.
We viewed, for instance, that because we only viewed it as a landing page at that point that gets updated with images of every industry and the people that are actually getting the stuff in the legal person. Like,
okay. I then have a question, maybe like, what do you guys think about maybe rewarding that guy maybe more than the guy who runs the company? Do you think that's feasible, or does that happen in real life?
I've never seen it happen, but I don't know much about it. I think it may happen.
If the company is really technical, then you, of course, compensate the company more.
Yeah.
You know the work.
Yeah, exactly. I think in the beginning it's always good to reward like the guys who gotta get you to the point that there's actually a business. So as a founder, always step back a bit in the middle with your own, in the beginning with your own rewards, and just focus on people getting you to the point where you can actually make it a business. So a lot of founders, they start and they want to reward themselves like the biggest sum of money, but it shouldn't be about that in the beginning. It should, in the beginning, always be about getting your business to the point where it starts generating revenue and it really becomes a business. Otherwise, it's just an expensive hobby and waste of time. Okay, thank you for your perspective. Okay. Woo. So, is there a group who had the total opposite of this model, or something different, like insight-wise? Okay. Yeah.
We had, first of all, we didn't divide everything, because we said that some other member could get in the team and grow, so we divided only about 60%. And we said that the guy would get the biggest reward at the beginning.
Okay.
So up front, we would get 8% of the company.
But only upon the completion of the first MVP.
Yeah. Of course.
And 8% after for maintaining and doing the paperwork, 7% vested for 24 months.
Yeah.
We said the two founders get 5% front, so it's one released and 10% vested for 24 months. And then
okay.
The review after, and salesman get 3% front, but 12% in stock options.
Yeah.
So that he has the incentive to work harder and pitch, so that the company gets valued higher when he gets the stock options.
Okay. Yeah, sounds like a good structure. Who here was familiar with the vesting principle? Everyone?
Yeah.
Like on most deals, for example, I made myself. I always get like this thing where they say, okay, you gotta work for at least 2 more years for this company. And, yeah, of course, then they say, okay, you can get like this amount of the shares, but you can get it in like 3 tranches for 6 months, 4 tranches for 6 months. Yeah, and this is really common practice. So even if you make a deal for a big percentage, it always gets like this thing on the side, like, okay, you got to stay in or whatever. Especially if you get to the stage of bigger investments, like maybe not in the angel round or the seed A round, but if you get to further stages, the key personnel of the company always gets locked in with these things. Like,
there's some question because, like, if you start and distribute some shares,
yeah,
we also say, okay, 30%, and then invest up to 20% if certain milestones are achieved.
Yes.
But what about if you kind of distribute all that and then you want to get an investor? What's the best way to then say, okay, which shares are actually giving to the investor?
Yeah, it depends on the deal you make. Like in the beginning, a lot of founders who just start, they think, okay, I'm going to make this clause where my shares don't dilute, but investors don't tolerate this. They just say, okay, it's nice that you come to this point, but you're all going to dilute against the shares that now are going to get how do you say what's the word? Issued.
So everyone goes down the value.
Who wants to step in or correct it?
Yeah, well, what we figured out, which is also common practice, is to start with different types of shares.
exactly. That's also.
So shares with voting rights, or shares with preferred profit rights, or shares with regular profit rights, or whatever. And so you can also distribute them and issue them to the various type of personnel, the various type of layers within the organization, and combine it with an exit scenario at the same time. So by so doing, you avoid situations that a certain shareholder grabs his percentage and goes in our majority. Then I go to Italy and to do it. And so in the terms and conditions of the issuing of those type of shares, is mentioned then that if you're not performed or if you're not delivering, then you're out for €1. So that's a penalty and a trigger moment in one go. So there are various ways who lead to Rome in this kind of perspective, and it depends indeed on what kind of characters you have in your team and what kind of character the formal investor, the informal investor is. So you have to search for this match. Because we are going to work together.
Nothing question, because we were just struggling. We tried to basically give to each role kind of certain milestones to KPIs. I mean, for some roles, it's really hard to define a milestone because, I mean, from a legal perspective, it's more like a one-time thing. Yes. And then, of course, it's more like a machine building. But, I mean, for the CEO, you can make the strategy, or for the sales guy, that's the easiest one because you just say, okay, back on the customer or whatsoever. But, I mean, it's really hard to give a certain milestone to certain positions.
It's true, but it's you mentioned the word apply incentives. You have to develop incentives.
Usually it comes down to for each role. So, like for example, the salesperson, of course, has performance based on sales. The tech guy based on achieving the development milestones. The finance guy on reducing costs or something like that. The CEO usually based on attracting funding until the point that they get to a point where it becomes profitable. Or based on the like the general performance of the rest of the group, even though that's abstract. But in most cases, like how it works for me, like for example, if I get funding, usually I get funding maybe for 1.5 years. And in the 1.5 year, you have like in my case, I have a shareholder meeting every 3 months, and you get funding, and then you have this roadmap of everything that needs to happen with the company. So you get like a roadmap, for example, for partnerships for your company, or I don't know, like optimizing something or whatever. And I always get challenged on the overall structure of or the overall performance of these KPIs of what all the team members are doing. So it's in my interest to make sure that the development guy is on time. It's in my interest to make sure that the CFO can reduce costs, and it's in my interest to make sure that the sales guy is pushing more numbers and getting more out of each deal. So it sounds really generic, and of course it is, but but that's how it works in reality for me. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, because I mean, the thing is, it's really hard to tell about some shares or some investing and stuff if you have no idea what point you are.
I have to admit, of course, with this exercise, like it's pretty generic, like you know the story now for maybe 3 hours or 2 hours, so it's good probably how far you got. I think you all learned a lot just by discussing it. Okay, Dominic has an insight.
Two questions. Is it normal that once you start talking about shares and dividing shares, that immediately in the beginning you divide out 100%?
Yes.
So that's normal. Yes. That's a normal way to do it. So that's the
way. The maximum 20%, but I mean after 3 years.
But this I understand. So it is 20%. You only accumulate it over a few years, but in the end, you split up everything. But then again, coming back, I think you also asked this question, is so you divided 100% of all your shares, and then you need to look for an investor. An investor wants a certain percentage of your company, like certain shares. Does everyone then hand out a percentage of his shares?
Yes.
Okay, so that's
usually it's if there are 1,000 shares and the company is valuated at 100,000, and the investor invests 1,000 new shares get issued, and the remaining shareholders.
Okay.
That's normal practice.
But it's not that. But I think it's not that. If I understand, it's not that you give
your share away, but your
No.
shares
Your
will
shares
stay
remain,
with,
so your
and
shares
then
worth
yeah,
less.
that's-
More or less. And it's also like during the point of where you get your start at the point of making a profit, it's uncommon that you sell your shares. Like it's not done. So people just maintain the shares that they got, and new shares get issued, and you don't sell them or whatever. It's just new shares get issued. At least from my
And
experience.
percentage-wise, you go down.
Of course, but
Yeah.
but the pie gets bigger,
Yeah,
so
the
it's,
value
the
of the
value
company
remains
also.
similar and should go up constantly. And this is what people should accept more. Like I prefer having 5% in a $1 million business than having 50% in a hobby. It's nothing. Like so, don't be put off by the actual percentage number. It doesn't mean anything. Like okay, well, you want to say something?
Yeah, well, indeed, to answer Dominic's question as well, if you work with leather shares or different types of shares, you won't have to reissue.
Yeah.
So you save a lot of money going to the notary, which is not needed anymore. Or your MANAs don't need to get changed.
Yeah.
So you can add
MANAs?
the Memorandum of Articles of Association.
Nobody knows that. Nobody knows what you're talking about. Nobody knows.
Now, when you start a company, you gotta set out this rule book of what the directors of this company need to adhere to. So, for example, in most of my companies, when I attract investment, and it says, okay, you're now going to get this sum of money. If you want to spend something higher than, for example, this amount, you need to get approval, for example, from the investors, so that you don't do something stupid. So you have this rule book of all these kinds of rules, and if you want to leave the company, what you need to do, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, as well, that's additional.
Yeah.
But you have the, as we call it in Holland, the statutten.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's the
Yeah.
MANA.
It's also if you for example, if you want to share your sell your shares, for example, in most articles it's stated that you first need to offer it to the sitting shareholders instead of offering it to another person. So this keeps you from how do you say it, like getting a stranger on board, so to say, and maybe ruining the company. Another thing is also like if you get if you need new funding for your company, it's usual that you say to the sitting shareholders, okay, you want to invest as well, and you get like the same proper deal as potentially a new investor before you attract external money. So always keep that into account. But the tool can definitely give you a great insight on those articles and stuff. Legal wise, I'm not your guy. That's one. Okay.
But there's one small addition to it, because instead of offering shares to your informal investor,
convertible note,
a convertible note, or a loan, or a high interest, much more higher interest as common.
Yeah.
So there's no guarantees to be offered as well. So it might be a good idea, being an entrepreneur, to offer that to the informal investor. Because you won't have somebody looking into your kitchen. You just have somebody who delivers the money, and they want every quarter of the year his invest. That's it.
And how do you
Would you advise that as well?
companies fail?
Would you also advise that?
I've done some deals where I had a convertible loan.
That's just because I know what it is. Other people who don't know what a convertible loan is.
Oh yeah, no. Well, as far as I believe, you get money, but this money is not valued yet on that current time, but it's valued when the actual company is valued. So it can actually still, like, if you
like basically, if you have a business entity, all the shareholders they need to be registered. Every time you want to change this, if you want to sell shares or whatever, you need to go to the notary and change literally the register of all the shareholders. Unless you're a public company, then you can just trade these shares. But the problem is that the notary always costs money. So if you want to raise money from a lot of people, like say you have an investment account with maybe 20 people, you don't want to go to the notary each time and pay like, I don't know, €1,000 or something just to change this stuff. So then you give out a convertible note, which gives you the right that at the next time when the company goes to the notary, change all these things at once and have a certain price for correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, at a certain
Exchange rate.
exactly at a certain exchange rate, and that makes it easier because then you can just go out and give tickets to everyone to be part of the gang.
And there is also still that's like really a loan where you get money, but it's only valued like afterwards once the company like has a proper value.
That's uncommon.
Really? That's what
But couldn't you do it with a convertible note and make the dependence different? That you say dependent at a due date or a certain company valuation?
I literally bit myself in the ass a couple of times with these things because when I took a convertible loan, for example, the expiration date to perform was like maybe 3 months. And usually with most startups, 3 months like this. You cannot achieve it and you lose a lot of shares. But, yeah.
You just have one quick question, because I mean also with the investors, if you start to give some equity out, and I just heard some stories where basically some other investors, if they see that you gave away some equity to some other investors, that they kind of compare. I mean, it's a different stage.
Yeah.
For example, the startup bootcamp, they basically have this program, 50,000, you can get 8%, but on top you get mentorship, like and stuff. I don't know, like, because one of the company we invited to get, and I have no idea what to think about it, so we're just gonna go there. But I don't know, like, because it's 50,000, 8%. And what other investors would say about that? If they also have 50,000, 8%.
There's of course always a thing, like I would definitely always recommend to go to a program like that just for the experience of getting network, whatever you can do. Especially if you're in the stage of, I don't know the stage of the company, but getting 15,000 against 8%, it triggers you that your company gets like validation of its work instead of just you saying, okay, this company is now at this stage or whatever. So just for that sense, it's a good starting point. I myself, sounds really contradictory here. I didn't do it so far, but yeah, I cannot judge the.
You know that program?
Sorry.
The one that is long. It's a fast track program in Heineken. I mean, they are all involved. Excellent. Well, alumni, they give you network, they give you rooms.
Around 450,000. Sorry, because we get into too much detail maybe for one of the other rounds. But a quick note on it still is like the tricky thing with investment is always that you need to think strategically about it. So even if you evaluate your company really early on, like really high, you will challenge yourself in the next investment round potentially because you overvaluated everything, and then if a new investor wants to come in, the things are evaluated too high, and you cannot get in at the thing that feels comfortable to them. So always plan ahead the next investment round as well. Like
but that's one problem. We have one partner with 50-50, and like, hey, this investor in, because we'll get 4%, but suddenly this investor plus my partner is more shares than I do.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I mean,
it's goes like that. But you can, for example, always state, like Wolf says, different kind of shares where you say, okay, you just have common shares and you have shares who can influence the course of the company, you can control the fund things, are represented by a director and stuff like that. We can discuss it in more detail.
This is your question. At which point would it not be interesting to take that? 8%? At what point is in the...
If you're not at the beginning and your business is making revenue and you have customers and you're set up, then I would definitely go for the goals yourself.
Have a good network of you.
Definitely. If it's in a business where you are not yourself like a native, so to say, like I don't know, for example, I don't know anything about the medical world, then it would be really good to go to a medical accelerator just to get a network and stuff like that. I would definitely recommend it. Otherwise, it's your own world.
Something that's very interesting that you mentioned that already people practice answering that question is that not really so much for maybe the mentorship of the fact that you work together there for the 3 months is the network, and actually that's something that you'd be willing to pay for because these guys have done the background work of bringing tons of people that are experts in that field, and that's really what you would do.
When you're invited to an alumni event, there are
Exactly.
people doing that program, and actually you get people from all over the world.
I would now maybe pay money just to present the business at
For the network, right?
Exactly, and that's such a good brand.
Would you go to iPhone?
No, not anymore. It's,
Yeah, it sounds really awful. But no, I'm not interested in that. No, sorry.
Why not?
Yeah, I think throughout the years, if you build your own network and you build your own team and stuff, you can get ahead properly and you don't particularly need that network. But yeah, it depends on your situation. It sounds maybe arrogant. Yeah, I know, but I really mean it. Like I prefer trusting on the people I know and have a relationship with whatever and build upon that, and then you have a really solid basis. Then going to a place where I meet a lot of people who are on the first side saying, hey, what you're doing and whatever, we're going to be so successful and so on. But also at Y Combinator and most of the accelerators, it's still a gamble, and it's still the entrepreneur who's got to make it happen, regardless of the accelerator you're taking part in. Of course, these things help a lot, but it depends on the stage and what you're doing. It's just my personal thing right now, but I would advise other people definitely to do it if it contributes to their idea. Yeah.
To their network.
Yeah, and to their network. Yeah. Okay, this was maybe not the best advice. Okay.
Next one.
So challenge 1. Challenge 2 is determining when you're ready for an investor, and this is something this is something I see in the field constantly. Like a lot of people, they think they are ready for an investor, and they go to an investor, and all they have is this fantastic PowerPoint, and, really well-designed business cards and whatever bullshit they can imagine. They don't have a business yet. And, the horrible thing about it is, of course, if you go then to an investor, you will waste your meeting. Like with most investors, how you meet them and how you interact with them in the first meeting, that's probably how they will keep seeing you for the rest of your relationship. So always go to an investor if you're actually at a stage of having something, and then go to an investor before you actually ask for the money and build this relationship first. Like most things I do is just, if I am working on something, I take a lunch with someone and discuss it and build this relationship maybe half a year or a year before I actually need it. Because then it's way easier and you get this person on board and giving you advice and giving you proper direction, and you feel included. And then it's just a logical step to help you out to the next level, instead of just coming to, hey, I need $1 million. Can you give me $1 million? It's never going to happen. Like, so stuff like that. Build a relationship before you need it. It's definitely an important thing. And everything you can do up front to get to an MVP, even if it's with your cousin or you're going to program yourself or whatever, but every value you can add in before you actually go into this process, please do it. Because otherwise you will waste your opportunity, and even if you get money, it will be on really shitty terms, and I would advise against it. But it's just my opinion. Please form your own opinion about these things.
Well, you mentioned terms, and we all talk about giving shares away, stuff like that. At our table, there was also a mention of an investor demanding you take a loan in a house or whatever to create equal risk. Is this something you've heard about before? Or?
Yes. Investors in the Netherlands, they have this term, putting your balls on the table to be cut off. Investors really like this if you are exposed to it yourself, in a sense, and or skin in the game, or however you want to call it. It's really important that you have something to lose with this startup as well. And if it's not money, put in something else, like, I don't know, like reputation, but you got to make it as concrete as possible so they can sense, okay, this guy, he will make it happen. Otherwise, he's doomed in his own circle or whatever. Just show things where you can make sure that you have something to lose as well. Otherwise, you're just going to an investor and give me some money, and if it doesn't work out, you just walk away to the next thing. But for the investor, that's really lost something. So it's investors definitely like it if you can show them.
What have you done? Have you done this as well in the past?
Yes, I've done many things in that regard. Like, for example, of course, like working without being paid. However, we had a small discussion about that. I've also had an investor who said, okay, if you cannot dedicate your full time because you need to work double jobs to sustain yourself, then I'm not going to invest in you because you cannot commit to this project. So it's a balance. But for other things, I always loan money or leverage something else. So I can say, okay, even if it's just like a small amount, maybe 10, 15,000 euros, which you can get it from family, friends, or whatever, just to prove, okay, I have something to lose. Like for example, you loan it from your uncle or whatever, or if you don't have rich family, you do something with your friends. But just show that you expose yourself to your environment and say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to stand for this. And they will more easily get it. Okay?
We need to
Yeah, we need to wrap up a bit. Yeah. So for the second challenge, investment readiness, we just had team 3 and team 6. Okay, now team 5. Who's team 5?
So at what point do you need to incorporate your business? At the share dividing first customer? Well, we wrote down the first customer because we think like, that's the point where you are receiving money. That's the point where you need to send out a actual invoice. You need to track everything and all that stuff. So that was our opinion. Like the dividing of the shares doesn't really matter for incorporating. That's like only for yourself. But the first customer is actually very important. The intellectual property. Well, for us that was also very, very simple. We just said like the company owns everything. Everything you make, everything you do within the company, whatever you write, whatever you do, it's just owned by the company, and you have no right on it.
It's really important to, when you start, to explicitly transfer and describe all the things that are transferred to the company. Because a lot of startups, they start out and someone just had this idea for maybe a year or something, and they were working on it in their spare time. And then they start a company, but they don't transfer explicitly everything they've done in that year. And then an investor doesn't feel comfortable because he thinks that maybe the intellectual property is still outside the company. Why would I invest in the company? Okay. Then what will be a simple summary of a good MVP feature-wise? Well, we just wrote it down very, very easily that for us the MVP would be for the customer, we can help you with these and these problems. So this would be the moving, which would be like all the other things, and a way to contact us. So that's more or less would be our simplest MVP. Just tell us what kind of services we can provide and how you can contact us. Minimum viable product. So it's just the minimum of a product you need to build to be able to test whether you have a market value or not. So then what are the KPIs, if I'm not mistaken? Well, for us, we decided the number of connections you make, so connections between the services you provide and the people which need help, the number of users on both sides, so either the services you provide or the users which actually sign up, and the number of requests, whether you can fill them or not, because we also imagine that maybe sometimes we get requests for stuff we don't offer yet, but it would still be a good KPI to keep track of. Then full-time or not, we divided this up for every person. So first we have Rob, the entrepreneur. How likely is it for him to do it full-time? Well, we did it on a rating of 5 stars, and we said like relatively likely. We gave him 5 stars, and how necessary is it to give him 4 stars? Frank, we gave him 2 because he's law, and yeah, we thought like no offense, Will. We thought that well, the law guy, you definitely need him, and you definitely record this.
But the question you have market knowledge, right?
Yeah, market knowledge and financials. That's also what I actually only heard afterwards. But we gave him 2 and 2. Then we have Mika. How likely is she to be doing it full time? Not really. We gave her 2 stars, but the necessary thing we gave her 5 because she really needs to build it. So then we have Dan, and we gave him 3 and 3. Then what would be the best time? At what point would you need money? We said to build a full product. So actually, after you test your MVP and you checked whether there is a market and whether there are customers. That was our. To be honest, I'm now not completely convinced yet. After I
I heard you talk about your investment strategy. What would be the best time to meet an investor? Well, we also said like after completing the MVP, but maybe now I would say a little bit earlier, like maybe already when you're building the MVP and when you're already gathering users and all that stuff.
What I want to say about that, it's also good that an investor sees that you make progress and that you can maintain the promises that you make. So if you say, yeah, I'm going to build this product and I'm going to demo it to you in 2 months, and then you're going to do this and that, and if you can do that 3 times or something, this person knows, okay, I can depend on this person. If he says I'm going to do this, it's going to happen. A lot of startups, however, they just say, my product will be live in 3 months. If I talk to them 3 months later, the product will be live in 3 months. And 3 months later, the product will be live in 3 months. It's a never-ending story. So make a story of small successes already known to the investor.
This will be, of course, like before you get the money to invest in, so they trust you and you can update on that.
Yeah.
So
relationship. You can prove that you are capable of doing this just by communicating these small wins constantly. That's really important.
But you can deliver more.
Exactly, and deliver more, you just score home run.
So who would meet the investor? We had a little bit of a discussion, but in the end we chose Rob and Dan, because Dan is a sales guy, he can talk, and Rob is, the initial, we call him the CEO. And what would be the best time to get an investment? Again, we said between the MVP and the full product. So after we build the
Can I ask you a question? Can I why isn't okay? You have to sell something, but wouldn't be also advisable to have also the legal guy that actually makes sure that the term sheet actually is right? And
definitely, that's also what we had a little discussion about. But we also felt like, if you get term sheets, then you take them home and then you give them to the legal guy. So that's
never break the legal guy.
No, he's not gonna look at it immediately because
shows that.
That was more or less
the simple thing with that is that, of course, people from legal and finance, they only see risks. And people from sales and stuff, they only see opportunities. So if you have a meeting like that, it should be about the opportunity of working together instead of the risks of working together. So,
that was our
thank you. Maybe to save some time, but there's one team who has like maybe totally different choice of the remaining teams. No? Similar? Yeah, everyone agrees. Like which team that we not have yet? Like team
4 and 1, right?
Team 2, maybe some feedback.
We were team 2.
Well, the division was based on our lawyer. So, so be sure that we were fine. I think the 2 founders got both 25%. Another 50% was set aside. So actually we had 100%, but they would set aside 50% as B shares that you could give to people based on KPIs that they had. So the technical guy and
like the B shares. Where do this go? Do you belong to the company? Or?
Yeah.
So there's no.
There are already issues
upon incorporation. That is assigned to the legal procedure.
And they're sitting in their city.
So who decides that these shares should be allotted regarding in this structure, this structure, this structure? It's all arbitrary, right? Like there is no official way.
You can think of something you like and then decide upon it with your shareholders.
So, but then everyone does it based on the complete interest. So you can't really be sure if you're being screwed or not at the end of the day, right?
How do you mean?
Like how does one person know, like, okay, like I don't have enough knowledge and I'm part of a company and then they say this is how it's supposed to be. Because every time this is what I hear.
Always get an advisor outside of the team you're doing business with. Okay.
And besides that, we were talking about shares, but there are lots of other vehicles in Holland, in a legal way, which don't know, which are not well acquainted with shares. So you only have a share into the profit, and not is the physical share in the percentage of voting rights. So that share in profit is not transferred.
It's also important, like with shares, some people also see it as a big risk. Like, for example, if you have 25% shares, that you're also liable for like 25% of all the damages that this company might do goes. This is only true to a certain extent. Like normally, only the money you put in or the effort you put in, that's the thing you can lose actually. And besides that, you have the Articles of Association where it states like okay, you cannot spend money bigger than this amount or whatever. So you always have like a fail-safe that the company cannot go into obligations it cannot meet or whatever. Otherwise, the director who ignores these articles, he will be liable and not you as a shareholder. So it's also like a.
That's when you have to.
Yeah, exactly.
Startups.
Yeah.
Start with
Yeah, I would recommend against it totally. In the Netherlands, like most investors, they say, yeah, I don't know what to call it at this moment, but if you don't have a BV, I don't know, it doesn't even interest them to take a meeting because there's no company. It's then they need to take you by the hand and go through all these steps to get you to a company phase. So I would always recommend to have like a legal entity separated from you as a person, because otherwise you will not build something separate from yourself, and then it's not attractive for an investor to get into.
You say you have 25% shares, you have 25% shares, then it's why you set a mutual liability corporation.
Yeah, so say for example, if you invest 100,000 for the 25%,
you get you don't have to bear all the risk from the company.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I just have one question. If you, let's say, have a company and you're just one liable person for that company, and you want to change to BV, isn't there a law that says, isn't actually a law that says that you as the owner of the company has to have like the highest salary, right?
No, I think it's something like this is when you own a BV on your own. And the taxman here in Holland says, even though you don't have a salary, or you can't take a salary of 40,000 gross out of the company, I'm going to tax you like you had it.
Okay. So it's not free to have a BV. You should at least pay those taxes, even though you don't pay that money to yourself.
So from legal point of view, I always advise against it.
Okay.
Well, just because from liability point of view, it's perfect, 100% perfect. But from tax-wise, you need to have a net profit, a gross profit from 150,000 euro per annum. Where BV will be friendly for you tax-wise.
What about I don't know about the Netherlands, but I do think it's kind of easy wide about the micro BV. Do you have that? So it's like with the below 15,000.
Yeah, but if it goes bust, then the curator will come to the door, knock on it, and ask for 18,000 euros.
Yeah.
So it's you have to pay.
For the 44,000 you are telling, you can make an agreement with the tax.
You could, but nowadays you can't.
As you all see, but this goes in a lot of detail. I think definitely if you're starting out, please talk to Roel or to Alain. We've gone through this process like many times.
Yeah, you are welcome.
Yeah, and we get some advice from people who've done this. Like most of this also, like even though I'm not talking about it, just experience it for yourself and come to your own conclusions about it. Don't waste a lot of your years like I did, but just go out and experiment. Like best learning skill is always just waiting. Okay, I just want to move on a bit because the time. So challenge 3 is actually when you're going to make a deal, you have this thing called term sheet. And basically, it's like this fantastic bullet list of agreements that you later hand to someone like Roel to make like a really proper contract out of it. But just to get like all the things on paper that you that are the basis of this deal. Right. I put a lot of bullet points on it to discuss. We now have team 1 left. Team 1.
Yeah.
Who's team 1? Yeah.
Well,
maybe you want to elaborate on it?
We didn't have enough time to talk about it fully, but We said that it's very hard for us at this point to say what is the value of the company, but we will try to do it by basing it on the team and looking around, comparing ourselves to other similar startups.
So everyone can
But what we wanted is more like seed funding, so we didn't want to have a lot of money at the beginning. We just threw a number around 20,000, and we didn't want to give any equity. So we said we pay you back 10%, which is very high interest, once we make profit. So this was how far we got.
What's the disagreement there? Because I kind of saw like the smile is really
I think it's sounded like this, perfect. You're a champion.
Maybe from your point of view, if you've tried to have a loan before, what is a high interest? Like how much are you?
For me, it's usually around 8%. It's like as you can have over 8%.
But it's depending on how liable you are.
Of course.
Because otherwise, 10% it's small. If I lose 10%, it's small. If there's something on your personal account, then 8% is no problem.
Some earlier stage, I used to work in venture, but some earlier stage it was 12%, and that's an institutional venture debt deal.
Depends
So
on who's
8%
doing
is
the
super
negotiation.
But that's without any warrants or anything. So if you go lower, I would say 8% was actually the cheapest I ever saw, and that was with a lot of milestones in tranches.
This was the bank.
That was in Silicon Valley.
Well, the thing is about an interest rate, it's just based on the risk premium, so I mean, it's something super theoretical.
Always get advice on it. And, just experiment where the threshold is. People saying yes or no. For me, like I said, 8% is usually what I go for.
If you get 5%, you can decide. I mean, there's actually a Microsoft fund which gives you 35,000 and you get 50%. I mean, there's some other ways to just look around. Bank loans always, of course, very expensive.
Okay. Cool. Did the remaining team, by any chance, get to the full challenge?
Basically for us it was a bit hard to evaluate that because we had no idea where we are at that point, but we just assumed, let's say, we want the company quite good within a year. We made a timeline and we said, okay, now the company is going to ready to invest. So we were aiming around, because what we wanted to do is online tutoring. So basically get it to the next level. The tutoring business is quite profitable. So you guys got a nice cash cow in order to just spend from there. So we were making an online tutorial and then we need basically a really good website or an app. They can basically watch the videos. So we're thinking about 50,000. I mean, from the app development is something we think is realistic. From the steps, I mean, first of course we need to find the value what it has. I mean, there's some different things. The tutoring business is rather a service, so we actually can measure the profit and it's to help the profit sometimes. So we just have an app and it would be quite hard to take a profit to calculate. But so we said we just first make the value company, value the company, then we make the cost actually we have for growing. From that point, we can then say, okay, do this and this amount, and then we can say, okay, this is a share. We said we don't want to have preferred shares, so actually we don't want the investors to kind of interfere in the decision making, just that we profit from the mentoring. So we say no to preferred shares, but we're willing to give shares for a certain percentage.
Also, another thing was with the investor, we should look for the investor that has also a network, so who can help us, not only money, but we can bring us to the first stage.
I mean, mentoring experience will vary quite a lot. So.
This is always also from my experience, if you go talk to investors, never take one or two meetings. Always as many as you can. Just get different perspectives. And often when you see that people get excited, it's because they feel they can contribute to the project. So if you can find an investor that has this magical feeling of, okay, this is something in my alleyway because I have this person in my network, I can contribute this and that, then it becomes more than just money, and always go for a deal like that. It's all small money, but I think it's bullshit of course. But, because investors are also smart asses. So it's but always go for something more than just money. Money is a generic thing. There's so much money in the world. You can get it from 10,000 resources. Always go for someone you have a connection with and you feel like, okay, this could be my business partner. And another thing, like I also said this in Startup Pirates, like always when you work with an investor, listen to the investor in regards to scaling the business and stuff like that, all the generic things in regards to your business. And look out that he doesn't become the entrepreneur in your business. You are the entrepreneur. You have the domain knowledge. You always listen to them if you want to take it to the next level. But you are the expert in the field. Just keep this clear border of why you what your field is and what would you take from the investor. Okay.
Let's wrap it soonish up. Yeah. We need to leave the building in 10. Okay. So let's give it 2 minutes to wrap it up, and then we get beers. We can have a little bit of networking until we need to leave. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so thanks a lot, Vince. That was a really good insight. Thanks to Ro for the legal advice. And yeah, it's okay.
We still need to take the chairs?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi. For having me. I think we have to try to find the best way to do it.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Hey, hey. How are you? Bye. In my living room. I don't understand. Oh, okay. Used to just translating me.
Okay, let's do feedback because then yeah, cool.
I think it's difficult to hear everyone because it's one person is there and the other one is there, and the acoustics are like so I don't know whether to put this somewhere else or to change something in the computer to make it more like open to the sounds. I don't know how it works with the acoustics, but that's what I can say now.
I'm thinking about getting a microphone for this. Because it could be really, I really think it could be really cool for such sessions when people can join from remote. But then I would really try to get a really good acoustic.
Yeah, and of course, if it's a presentation, that's not a problem. If it's a workshop like that today, it's difficult because it's difficult to get involved while you're on Skype on something. So that's fine. But if it's a lecture or something, that would be really cool to be able to try.
Yeah. I totally see it. Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Enjoy and see you again.
Thanks a lot, Kasia, for the feedback. I hope you got something from the content. Anyways, it was a first try, and then see. Keep in touch.
Bye.
Bye.